Okay, hello. Time to go again. If you missed the first time, I'm Cassie Smith. I'm the Senior Editorial Content Director of Supply Side, and with me is Doug Lynch. Doug is the President of MarketWell Nutrition. Doug, you've been in the biz for a long time, which goes well with our longevity talk today. So yes, we have 15 minutes to talk about longevity and health span. If you have questions for Doug, you can ask them here. My apologies, but you can ask them. You guys, if you stay here for this whole time, you get to listen to me do the same thing 7 times. So you have to walk out of this room and walk around, and then we have a fun little room in here where Doug will be at 2:15, and you can ask him more questions.
Excited.
And you will answer them, correct?
I will answer anything that's asked of me.
Just be careful
and
what you
I'll
ask.
be accurate with the answers. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, let's start. People want to live longer. More importantly, They want to live better. We have NAD plus boosters, polyphenols. What are the most exciting research-backed ingredients driving innovation in this space?
Yeah, so it used to be, if you went and researched this, they would talk about 6 reasons we age, and then a little later it turned into 9. And now, at last count, it's 12. I hope if my career has longevity, I'm in front of you, and there's 20 by the next time I show up. But for right now, it's 12 that we're all focused on. And ultimately, the reason I love the dietary supplement nutrition industry is because aging is not really being attributed to one cause or one factor, Cassie. The element of drugs, the element of prescriptions, they usually tend to work when there's one target, one avenue to go to, one problem to solve. And usually it unloads everything at that target, and that's usually why side effects and things of this nature also take place. So I really love the nutritional industry because we're a lot more subtle, and we can act on multiple pathways at one time. And to that end, I'm curious, or if you're a manufacturer of a raw material, can you raise your hand here? Okay, how about if you're a brand? No, keep them up. How about brands? Are you brands? Okay. Any reporters in the mix here? Okay, keep your hands up. We got
one reporter.
Keep your hands 2. Up. Okay, keep your hands up. So how many of you are developing, if you're developing products for aging right now and for longevity, keep your hands in the air. Oh, that's really interesting. Because the whole point of health span, the whole point of actually why we are all here is to have healthier lives. So I would actually suggest we've been doing the longevity thing for a long time. We just didn't have a name for it. Now we have a name for it. It's called longevity. It's called health span, the healthier years of your life. And ultimately, the expectation is if we live that way, that we'll have an actual longer life as well. And that's where the details get fuzzy, but we're here to go through those details.
And what are some cool ingredients? What should everyone who's formulating be like, I need this, yeah?
Yeah, no, it's really fascinating that you asked that, because sometimes the ingredients that we've been talking about for a long time that aren't so cool, that don't sound cool anymore, like vitamin D, actually is linked towards telomere preservation, and ultimately DNA methylation and these types of things. So the structural damage to DNA from top to within ultimately is linked to something that we take every day. Again, so sometimes the old is new. I mean, curcumin is another ingredient that people kind of think about from long periods of time for its ability to work on inflammation pathways, which, by the way, is one of the 12 pathways. Curcumin, again, is becoming new again because it's so effective with the ability to work on inflammation cascades. And it's not just for joint health anymore. It's for living longer as well. So these are a few. Obviously, resveratrol, the sirtuins. These are things that have attracted attention for quite some time. So each of those pathways actually have some active ingredients that are looking at new ways of looking at it. Mitochondrial health, good grief. I mean, if you look at metabolism, if you look at the active ingredients, Some of these were discovered in drugs first, and then now we're finding out using AI and other technologies how natural products can work very similar to metformin and rapamycin, which were the drug side of things. And using AI right now is becoming incredibly important for identifying which of the active ingredients that we haven't had before and the ones that we're developing now. Sometimes from even probiotic strains that once we kill them actually are much more effective. I know it sounds sad, but heat-treated probiotics actually can work very interestingly to actually work on sustaining and actually extending the lifespan of C. elegans. So there's a whole screening process, Cassie, that starts very, very early when you're actually working with worms and fruit flies and things of this nature that can actually take the raw material in, extend a lifespan that's relatively easy to actually work your way through. Because if we're going to do a human study, it's going to take a long, long time to show if these are results. But we can go ultimately from those fruit flies and those worms. We can then go to mice, which are kind of the gold standard, 97% of human DNA, and then we go from those ultimately to the human trials. In those instances, many times you're either looking for markers that improve, but if you're really going to look at effectiveness, you're going to actually have to kind of count on universities to carry you the way through. That's why I start companies that actually are partnering with universities that are able to do 5-year studies and the like, and actually have thousands of participants on it, and make the right kind of judgment calls.
So you said earlier that like we're all in this sort of live longer, live better industry. That's really what we're here for. How does the market, like, do consumers see it that way? Is this a new emerging market, or have people been really buying supplements to live better since we started buying supplements?
Oh, it's an excellent question, Cassie. And the thing is, when I first developed my first longevity dietary supplement, that would have been 5 years ago. And as a marketer, I'm always asked, what's the demographic of this? So you start to make some assumptions in that. And so my demographic was, I was looking at somebody who could, A, afford the product because I was charging confiscatory prices in order to buy my supplement. That's another story. But I was also looking at people that were in their 50s that still were pretty computer literate so that they could find the targeted ads that I was sending to them. And then a little more concerned about what's happening, because usually if you're in your 50s, as I am, you have your parents that are in their 80s and 90s, and you're looking at them and you're going, is there some other way off this treadmill? Right? So that was the game, that was the thought. I can tell you now that's absolutely thrown on its head, because a major multinational brand that I do some development for, and I'm not allowed to use their name right now because we're going to surprise everybody with it. We're talking people that are in their 20s and 30s are looking to preserve what they've got right there. Once you lose it, it's not coming back. And I can tell you, even especially in dementia-type research, brain research, I can tell you it's all about preservation, because once it starts to go, it goes. And you can't get it back. I'm sorry. There's not very many supplements that are going to... If you can show me a supplement that can restore after an age-related disease has really happened, given we don't target diseases, that'll be a difficult conversation for me to have.
So is really the target audience for these longevity or health span supplements, people in their 30s, people in their 20s? Like, is that...
Yeah.
Am I too late? Doug, I'm 39. Is it too late for me?
No, because, but I will say this, today is your best day for the rest of your life, all right? Everyone out here, this is it. This is as good as it gets.
You guys you can all leave now.
Okay, no, I mean, if you're talking about longevity, it is a matter of preserving. And when you start to pay it, many of us have been taking these supplements, things like CoQ10 and quercetin. I mean, these are tried and true, but ultimately, and if you've been taking them all along, the likelihood is you're gonna win the race, right? but yeah, right now we're going into other areas such as gut health, the gut-brain axis, and how these are connected to. We want to preserve our brain. We want to preserve our gut. We are absolutely interested in metabolic health. There's other areas that are coming that are also interesting. Dr. Spagnol, I saw him out there in the crowd from University of Guelph. I mean, these are universities that can actually use computer AI models to say if you've got an ingredient in this business, whether or not it's actually helpful for ultimately for longevity. So there are universities. I'm connected with the Center for Microbiome Research down in Florida. We're doing a 5-year study called the Miyagi-B. It's the microbiome and aging in gut and brain. So we're actually checking demographics of people in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s and 50s and older, and seeing how the gut microbiome and things of this nature can actually work very well. And there's a postbiotic in the Sabinsa group, if they're around there, that you might want to go check out. Not a free plug, but that was discovered by one of the universities that I work with. So,
can you tell us anything you found in that sort of gut-brain longevity? Anything cool that's come out of there? Yeah,
sure. So again, most people think about metabolic health in terms of breaking down of sugars and fats. And there's some other interesting area beyond metabolic mitochondrial health right now that you should look into, peroxisomes and the like. But back to the gut, as we're going back into that. So most people talk about the gut integrity as being super important to maintaining youth and ultimately a younger persona. They are very much interlinked, and so whether you're working on the tight junctions of the cells of the gut lining and keeping them tight, keeping age-related inflammation from destroying those ruptures and causing everything from undigested food particles going into bacteria and other types of foreign invaders. So at that level, it's important, but even on the outer level of that, which is the mucus lining, it's super critical. And there are postbiotics that are actually showing promise in that area of regenerating your mucus layer to keep the bad actors from starting that age-related cascade from taking place to begin with. That's one of the avenues that we're working on. Prebiotics work extremely well too in this discussion. And yeah, most of the probiotic discussions are usually aimed at immunity. And I'm not here to say don't take products for immunity, of course, but ultimately, if you're preserving that gut lining from without and from within, you have a much better chance of developing a solution, certainly a tool in the aging process.
Mucus lining. Okay.
Yeah, it's not just for noses anymore.
That's a good brand.
It's a different kind of mucus. In truth, it's a different kind of mucus. But I mean, the leaky gut is leading towards bloating and gas and discomfort and inflammation that's age related. There's all these symptoms that are taking place of that, and frankly, a leaky gut is aging. They're not two separate conversations. Your gut leaking is a symptom of aging. It's happening to everyone in this room, unfortunately. But some of our lifestyle choices we make it happen much faster.
Let's finish up with a quick chat. You have 1 minute. About chronological age versus biological age. What's the difference? How do we measure that? And more importantly, how do we formulate product for that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a story that I would love to talk to you even more about, maybe at the meeting late at the
mixer.
The mixer. Thank you.
There will be drinks.
There will be drinks present. Great, which actually unravel your DNA, but that's another story. Sorry.
There's
about
red wine.
Okay, polyphenols. The testing. So chronological age is what's on your driver's ID or your passport. Biological is how old your cells are convinced you are. So there's no universal standard on the test for these, but they're getting more and more affordable. And if I had this discussion with you 5 years ago, I would say, get ready to write a check. You can look for these signs in blood, but that's very, very tricky. Ultimately, you're probably going to have to use a clinic for that. You can use saliva, which is getting really interesting too. And now even urine test, metabolomics is the study, so that we can actually do these types of aging, give you a baseline. The importance is give you the baseline of that test and then come back to it after your nutritional supplementation. Give it a few months, come back and see if those markers are going in the right direction or the wrong direction. But ultimately, these tests are going to be super critical because we're not going to be here for 40 years to see if these things work. We have to have a good sense really quickly that we're on the right track.
All right, everyone. Thank you, Doug. That was quick. Good job.
Thank you very much.